Hello, everybody, and welcome to Skybox. I'm your host, Craig Corbin. Skybox is the show that informs you and gets you involved with the events that are going on around Atlanta. Sit back, relax, and get ready, because we're about to take you through some recent and ongoing Atlanta athletic happenings. This month, we're joined by Jonathan Simmons, host of Real Talk Sports. Jonathan takes us inside the College Football Hall of Fame and Chick-fil-A fan experience as we kick off the new year with an inside look at this Atlanta museum. At this ceremony, the 2014 Football Hall of Fame inductees were welcomed to become part of history, alongside previous inductees spanning over 60 years. Based on your favorite team, a helmet is lit in your team's honor. The interactive museum caters to you and showcases important events and plays your team has contributed. Let's take a look.
A veritable Disneyland for the sports fans. Behind me is probably one of the most famous icons for the brand new College Football Hall of Fame, and that is their wall of helmets. Now, the interesting thing is that this is not just for show. Each time an individual comes in and selects their school, a helmet lights up, letting the College Football Hall of Fame know that a new fan is here. And it causes your interaction to be totally tailored to you as the individual fan. College Football Hall of Fame gives you a little bit of everything. Giant iPads for the little ones, games to play. You can even be your own sportscaster as they set you up with an actual in-game experience. Everywhere you go, it's nothing but fun and good information. History abounds, but never too far back that you can't have a sense of irreverence and fun. College Football Hall of Fame is smack dab in the middle of all of the great things that make Atlanta a new destination city. Down the street from the College Football Hall of Fame is the Civil Rights Museum, the Coca-Cola World of Coke, the CNN Center, where all of the CNN news broadcasts are done. And if you're a sports fan like me, you're right in what I like to call the conundrum of sports activity in the South. The Georgia Dome, where the Falcons play their home football games, the Phillips Arena, where the Hawks play their games, and literally just 3 miles away from where the Atlanta Braves play their baseball games each and every season. It's fun times here in Atlanta downtown. If you're a sports fan like me and you want to have a place to visit where you can have fun. We're at the College Football Hall of Fame and the very first induction ceremony since it's moved to Atlanta. And I have the guy, I like to call him the big chief behind the scenes, the president of the College Football Hall of Fame, John Stevenson. Welcome back, sir.
Glad to be back. Thank you.
Hey, man, very exciting to see this first class kind of come in here in Atlanta. Again, just it's been kind of a whirlwind these last few months with the grand opening.
It has. We've been working really hard for the last 6 months to get the building built, to get it open, to have our first month of operations, and now this big event to dedicate the building and have a first enshrinement class. So we've been working hard, but it's the end of the beginning, as we say, for this attraction, and we're gonna go on and have a lot of people coming through here tonight and for the rest of the football season and on into attraction season next year.
And tell people a little bit about tonight, because tonight kind of is a big event.
It's a big event. It's kind of a two-headed event. One is just to officially dedicate the building and say, hey, it's here, and here's why it's in Atlanta, and welcome to the college football world, to our brand new stage here in this building. And then the second half of the show is to celebrate the induction class from last year, that was the first class to see themselves here in the building, physically and trying.
Well, I tell you, it's really exciting. I know some of the guys here who are big SEC football fans. You got a guy who was a Georgia enemy, but certainly was a stalwart in the SEC, Danny Wuerffel, and a great man of faith, too, as well.
Absolutely. Danny, I was at Georgia when he was at Florida, so I spent many years suffering his beating the Bulldogs handily every year. But you can't deny that he was one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play college football.
Yep.
And even after he's retired from football, he's shown himself to be just an incredible influence off the field as well with Desire Street Ministries. Not enough is said about what that organization does and what he personally does, but hopefully, we got some good ideas, and we got a big stage in here for him too.
There's so many things about this moment, this place, this time that make it so special. For me, it's nice. I just turned 40, and so many things happen right when you're playing and right after you're playing. It's hard to really appreciate it, but I think both having time that's passed and maturing a little bit puts at least me in a position to really appreciate what this is all about and what it stands for, and then the way the National Football Foundation has honored us and treated us has been so special. Way more than I would have ever imagined. And then to have the Hall of Fame here in Atlanta where I live, and to have this place be, world-class facility, it's amazing. To me, this communicates that people appreciated what you did, how you did it. It does. Something about this also transcends sort of our allegiances. It's like, I'm Florida, I'm Georgia, but then every now and then something happens where you come together to just, honor the sport and those people that played it. And I think this is one of those things where people, they may hate Florida, they may not have liked playing us, they may not like Spurrier or me, but you know what? They're going to honor you for what you did and brought to college football, and that's cool. This is an amazing group of guys, and there's people that I watched when I was young. There's people that I played against with Tommy that I had so much respect for, not just in college, but in high school. We kind of ran the same circles in Florida, and so we've got all sorts of people. We got quite a group of characters. I'm glad Coach Harden's in it. He's like the one, mature guy we got in our group, so I'm glad he's here. This is a phenomenal place in Atlanta. I know the city of Atlanta is proud. So many people are coming here for different activities, and to have this right here, and the beauty of this, anybody that has any sense of joy for football is going to love it. But you don't even have to really care a lot about football to enjoy being in this facility. I think it's going to be an attraction that's going to really do well for the city, and I'm really excited to be here and to be part of it. Someone just asked me who do you think is going to make the Final Four, and I go, I'm just glad we're asking that question. That's a great question to ask, and with all the upheaval this last weekend, you never know. The top four teams may not be on anybody's radar right now the way this thing can unfold, and that just makes it really exciting.
It's a changing game with changing gear. As you just saw here, that was the look of college football over 100 years ago. Not too much different than going out in your street clothes, which is what many players did back in that era. As you take a look and go down, looking at the Uniform Wall of Fame, you'll see how things have progressed as we are concerned more about safety. But most people don't know that at one point, football was almost banned as a sport due to the number of deaths that occurred on the field. Well, people understanding how much people love football found ways over the years to change the game to fit the ever-changing speed and size of the players. All the way down to the footwear, players' needs are being addressed in terms of safety and comfort on the field. So important that comfort and safety are the main things that are looked at when you're playing a high-impact sport like football. With the players now, in some cases, being over 6'5" and over 300 pounds, well, you can imagine playing with a leather helmet and no shoulder pads wouldn't work today. Across this nation, people have done everything they can to make the sport safe. But I wonder sometimes, are we doing all we can do? Still, concussions are a problem. Still, in some cases in the NFL and even in college, I believe, the use of stimulants and other things to help to aid the player's performance still has to be monitored. But nevertheless, the National Football Foundation, the NFL, and even high schools around the country continue to be on the vanguard in making sure that players are able to safely play the game that we love so much.
You got some of the best people, not only football players, but best people in the world. You got Steve, who was one of the guys that started the witness protection deal. Just think about the different type of people that we have there, that all the coaches, that how many players they have lives they have touched. So we not only have we got good athletes, We got great people, and it's so great to be a part of being with such great people, man. Because my mom and daddy used to always say, if you hang around good people, you'll turn out to be okay yourself. I've been a probation officer for 19 years in Ramsey County, and I see tons and tons and tons of kids that need our guidance and our direction. And what I do is I try to help them and guide them and get them to stay out of trouble. And if I can get one or two of those kids not to get in trouble, that's a win. That's a win. That means that we have helped someone, and that's what my calling is. That's what I've been doing. I enjoy mentoring kids. I enjoy taking them out on events and stuff like that. So as long as I can share my knowledge and use a little bit of that pro and college still to instill in them that, hey, you can do it. Hey, I'm here. I'm standing proof that it can be done. So they get to know a little bit about me. I get to know a little bit about them. I get to meet their parents. I get to talk to them and try to help them to become better men.
It's a wall of fame inside the Hall of Fame. I'm referring to the HBCU segment here in the College Football Hall of Fame located here in Atlanta, Georgia. The history of the historically black colleges and universities. Long before integration of colleges across the nation, the HBCUs produced some of the finest football talent in the nation. Many people that we know currently are in the NFL Hall of Fame played at HBCU schools. People such as the legendary Jerry Rice, the outstanding wide receiver from San Francisco, who's considered one of the greatest football players ever, came from HBCU school right down the road, Mississippi Valley State. Atlanta's own Claude Humphrey, also an outstanding player, just recently inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame, and is also in the College Hall of Fame himself, also an HBCU member. So many outstanding players and even coaches came through the rigorous, both academic and on the field, challenges from playing with schools that had to deal with segregation both on and off the field. But they endured, they excelled, and achieved greatness on the fields of gridiron and all. HBCUs, the Wall of Fame, small but impressive here in the College Football Hall of Fame.
The College Football Hall of Fame isn't the only draw near the Centennial Olympic Park area. Next, we're off to the ice rink. Even though Atlanta isn't equated with ice or even cold weather for the most part, the Centennial Olympic Park houses a sheltered ice rink to help bring in the winter season. Set up and taken down each year, the ice rink brings Georgians out for a once-in-a-lifetime Northerner experience. Join us as we learn about what exactly goes into bringing the North down south.
Welcome to the Centennial Olympic Park Ice Rink. We are now in our 15th year here at Centennial Park, and we're proud of every moment. What I'd like to do is I'd like to give you a journey that takes us from beginning to end and a little bit of history. We started out in 1996 at the World of Coke, which was at Underground Atlanta. We resided there for 3 years, and then we were fortunate to be invited to Centennial Olympic Park in 2000, where we've been ever since. We started in South Park, which is immediately in front of me, and we evolved to the current site, which is affectionately known as North Park, here about 8 years ago. We've been fortunate enough to skate a number of people every year. We skate tens of thousands of people every year. I've seen families grow up. They come back every year for the holidays, and it's always good to hear their stories. It takes about 2 weeks to set the rink up. First, we bring in this massive structure, which protects us against the elements. We're able to operate in almost any kind of weather, except for extremes on either side. Ice and snow, which makes the surroundings dangerous, or very, very hot weather, which we've had over the years. We've had upwards of 80 degrees. We still maintain a pretty good stand of ice, but sometimes Mother Nature always wins. We've got, what we do is we run secondary refrigerant through the floor, and then we put light coats of water on it. We end up with about 3 inches of ice during the season. Now, when we get big crowds, obviously some of the ice goes away, and we resurface several times during the day and every night. Every time we make a pass with the hose over that ice rink, you put down a 1/16 of an inch of ice. So if you do the math, you see that it takes about 50 passes of water just to get a pretty decent stand of ice. We've added a new feature this year. We've got our Coca-Cola skate cam off my right shoulder. That gives everybody the ability to see themselves when they skate. Everything that you see here is temporary. What we do is we come in the beginning of November, we set everything up, and then the end of the season, which is Martin Luther King holiday in January, we take the tops off and let the sun go to work on the ice, shut everything down, put it in our trailers, take it over to the Georgia World Congress Center marshalling yard, and we start refurbing for next year. So everything that you see here goes away. If you come here during the summer for a concert, this is usually where the stage is. If you come to Wednesday Wind Down, the stage is over in a different area. If you come to any event here, you're not going to see this. 4th of July, which is one of the biggest events of the city of Atlanta, this is gone. The fireworks are shot from across the street, and everybody watches from the Great Lawn here. So we pack our stuff up and head out of Dodge, but we're always coming back. Everybody asks me whether I skate. Well, I skated as a younger man for a number of years playing hockey, but my skating days are over. I've had my hip replaced, I've had my knee replaced, and I leave that to the younger people. I do enjoy watching it. I brought my grandson out here last year, and Morrell, our manager, skated him around, and it was just a joy for me to watch. What we've tried to do since our inception is to make this a very family affordable and family friendly attraction, and we think we've succeeded by the numbers that we skate every year.
And finally, we travel to Milton High School for Hoops for the Cure. Cancer is the second leading cause of death in the United States. The Hoops for the Cure tournaments consist of basketball games played in order to collect funds for breast cancer research. Joined once again by Jonathan Simmons, we follow the game and learn more about the cause from the founder, people, and players involved.
Believe it or not, folks, as you can see behind me, we're not at a college basketball tournament. That's one of the best high school teams in the nation. West Coast Christian Academy getting ready to take on Atlanta's own Milton High School. But this is not just your ordinary basketball tournament. This is a tournament that is involving a cause, and the cause is breast cancer. I have the guy who's the founder of this tournament, Mr. Coleman, Kim Coleman, with me right now. Kim, welcome to the show.
Jonathan, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be with you.
Hey man, really, it's been, I've been here for a couple hours. It's been outstanding, some great talent here. But the thing that's been very impressive is just the attitude of the coaches and the players. How is that to you, having found this tournament, to see that type of response from the players and from the coaches?
Jonathan, it's very exciting because the coaches are here because, one, they have talented teams. Our corporate partners are here because we have talented teams, but they also know why we're here, and that is because of breast cancer awareness. And we're heavily involved with the Georgia Breast Cancer Coalition Fund, a local organization here in Atlanta that is not just trying to find a cure for the disease, but help eradicate the disease. So we're very thankful to Verizon and Microsoft, ProXO, Buca de Beppo, and all of our corporate sponsors, and of course all of our players and coaches, because without them we couldn't do this.
Well, tell people a little bit, because this is not just a situation where you just one day decided you want to do this. Tell people the genesis and how it impacted you personally.
Unfortunately, cancer has been in my family quite a bit. I lost my mother to breast cancer a couple of years ago. I've lost my brother to stomach cancer. I've lost a sister to ovarian cancer. I've lost a nephew to colon cancer. And even going back to my grandmother and uncle when I was a kid, we lost them to cancer. So it's been something that has impacted my family tremendously and personally. So whatever we can do personally and business-wise to help, again, not just find a cure, but to eradicate this nasty disease, we're going to do everything we can.
Well, it's always good to see someone that said, hey, I'm going to take a problem, take something that was, very hurtful, and turn it into something that's now very helpful.
It's been a true mission of ours, and we're very thankful to have, of course, not just the players, but the coaches get behind it. We have 40 very exciting teams this year. We have a waiting list of teams that wanted to get in. So to have the coaches get behind what we're trying to do in our cause, it just warms my heart.
We're at Milton High School, located just about 30 miles outside of Atlanta, and we have a big basketball tournament going on with a big basketball school. And I have the guy that runs the whole athletic department here, and he's going to introduce himself to you right now.
I'm Gary Silvestri.
Well, Gary, listen, Milton High School, really kind of legendary here in Atlanta in terms of basketball and other sports. You guys right now rebuilding the program. How important is it for you to have a school like Christian Oaks Academy come out here and play you guys?
It's a great barometer for us to see where we're at right now early in the season. Hopefully we can compete well, learn where we're at, and grow from there as well. And that's huge for us. Coach Kramer came in here and building a program from the ground floor up, and that's what we want to do as a comprehensive program. I've seen us developing little by little.
And the other thing, too, is that in case people don't know, you guys have an outstanding football program. I believe you guys have already won your opening round in your playoffs this year.
We did. We finished 9-1 region champions, first time in a lot of years, and went ahead and beat Northview, a good Northview team last night. Now we have Langston Hughes coming in here, so it's a battle of Fulton County again, which will be they got a great coach down there, Coach Cannon, and a great program.
Well, I tell you, it's really outstanding for us to come out here to your school. You guys taking time out because I know you have a lot of things going on, playoff for football, getting ready for basketball. So kudos to you for allowing your facility to be used for such a great tournament.
We appreciate that. It's all about, in our school, it's excellent standards, academics, athletics, and when you got these fine teams coming in here playing and everybody competing at that level, it's exciting.
And really what gets me is that in talking to one of your students, the emphasis that he had already from the student athlete, how important is it for you as an AD to make sure that that message gets across to the students and the faculty?
You know, that student athlete sometimes just thrown out there, but we really believe that student part's first for a reason and your athlete second. And we want our student athletes to put that first. And our grad rate's amazing, and the kids that go on to college, next level, stay there because of that reason. So we're proud. We consider ourselves a prep school. We don't know how to prep school. We're proud of that.
Well, listen, we appreciate you taking time out now so people can follow you, follow the program. Give them all the information, website, social media, so they can follow you.
So we have an AD Twitter out there from Milton High School. We're on every sport has their own Facebook as well.
Okay.
So you can just plug it in and pull it up, and you'll find us real quick.
Milton High School, just 30 minutes outside of Atlanta, Georgia, doing big things here. And we're trying to do big things with Hoops for the Cure right here, basketball for a cause. As you can see, there's plenty of tournament action still going on here. We're at the Hoops for the Cure. It's based here at Milton High School, and we have actually the head coach from Milton right here with us. Introduce yourself to everybody, please.
Head coach Matt Kramer, Milton High School, my second year here.
Coach Kramer, as I spoke to your AD and one of your players, big night tonight, even though it's kind of a just opening round here, playing a team, West Oaks Christian Academy, one of the best schools in the nation. What does it mean to you?
Well, I mean, that's what we wanted. You know what I mean? The bottom line is we were not in this event until later, and when I heard who we could play and the fact that we could host it, I mean, it's something that we want to do for our guys. You know, we have Chris Lewis here, who's one of the best power forwards in the country, and Jordan Burrow, who's one of the better point guards in Georgia, and I thought it would be good for them to get out here on this stage. And you know, we're a little shorthanded tonight. We've got a couple guys that are nursing injuries, and one of our starters is actually on the football team that's in the second round of state playoffs, and he makes a big difference. Cortez Sapp. But you know what? We want to know. You know what I mean? We've got some young guys that are ready to find out, and we want to come out here and see what we can do against a team like this.
Well, I think, again, you guys are to be commended for taking on a challenge because, again, like you mentioned, only 20 practices in, really almost kind of the first part of the season,
Sure.
And taking on a team that's in the top 100 in the nation.
Well, you know, in all the respect to them, and, you know, here's the deal. If you want to be in the top 100, then you got to go play a team like that, and you got to compete with them. You know, and ultimately, if you want to really be recognized, you've got to learn to beat teams like that. You know, here's the way we figured. If it doesn't happen tonight, we'll find out exactly where we are. You know, we've got several games against top 100 opponents coming up. We play Wheeler twice. We're going to play Jonesboro over break, and then we go to the Arby's Classic in Bristol, Tennessee, where there's going to be tremendous players from, you know, all over the country plus Germany. So we're going to find out, and that's really what we want. You know what I'm saying? I'm way too old and been around way too long to care what the final record says. I want to know how good we can be, and this is how you find out.
Coach, I got a chance to talk to your AD and your head coach. Everybody seems to be very excited. We're talking about kind of this legendary program here, but you guys are looking to kind of ramp it back up again.
Yes, sir. We're trying to do it from the feeder program. A lot of kids coming from our smaller program and rising up to the high school ranks. We've got a great coach, Coach Kramer, who's instilling a lot of discipline and fundamentals, and guys are just working hard. And one of the keys to our success this year is going to be outworking the opponent. There's no gimmicks or tricks. It's just getting in the gym, hard hat and lunchbox, and leaving everything on the floor.
See, that's spoken like a true assistant coach. He says all about being on the grind. Coach, Milton High School has had a reputation over the years of being one of the best teams in the state of Georgia, but you guys are now one of the best teams in the nation. How important is it for you to continue to press the envelope and go around the country and play some of these top teams?
Well, we're very familiar with Milton's history and their tradition here. That's why we, took the call when they called us nationals to come up to play, and it's very important for us to play games like this in other regions, play against other teams that are, very competitive and well-coached teams, and we'll just, it's a young season, and we'll see how we do tonight against a good basketball team. We play a 32-game regular season schedule plus our state tournament. So when we're on the road, there's still some academic time. They check in with their teachers and get the work ahead of time so they can do it on the road. So we've been doing this. This is my second year at the school, and it's my 10th year, 11th year overall coaching high school basketball. And most of my teams have traveled and played a pretty much national schedule. So it's important to instill that, hey, look, it's fun to go on the road and play in nice venues and good teams, but you're still a student athlete first. There's 67 kids in our basketball program right now.
Wow, 67.
We've got 6 teams, 3 post-grad teams and three high school teams, and a girls team as well. So we run a basketball academy at West Oaks, and we've been fortunate enough to do this and build it. This is in our second year, and it's been a blessing. It's a lot of work. And we just enjoy getting out on the road and competing in good events like this. But our food banks, they also attend church services if they want to on the weekends. So we've got them well-rounded and other activities, not just basketball.
Well, Coach, you notice I was grinning more and more because I'm about 20 years in the ministry, so the preacher's always happy when he hears the kids are going to church.
There you go. There you go. We've got a lot of international influence in our program. Most of our kids are international. Probably 75-80% of our whole program are international kids. So, it is a ministry, and we're using basketball to help these kids better their lives. So.
Well, I tell you, it's enjoyable to be out here to cover you guys. I'm always excited to talk to new schools, new coaches, and hear about the good things that are going around the country. How is it now coming out again, being in this tournament? But this is a tournament that's a little different. I mean, we have things around the country where you're playing top teams, but this one is Hoops for a Cure. How nice is it to be part of that situation?
It's very nice. This is a first-class tournament. They've done a great job here. They're great teams here. It's very organized, and people treat you great. So, I'm looking forward to coming back if they'll help me.
Well, that's it for this edition of Skybox. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.